Happy Fragrant Friday, fraghead. Hey everybody, this is Ben here, wishing you a happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day weekend. And of course, I had to do my very first episode for Father's Day fragrances. I've done one 2 years ago that was a Happy Father's Day / 10,000 views celebration, but this indeed are the fragrances for me, the top 20 when I think of Father's Day. So let me quickly just say again, Happy Father's Day to you. I hope you are doing well. This goes out to the dads, the stepfathers, foster dads, dads to fur babies, dedicated uncles, any guys taking care of their sister's turtle named Miles Comet, you name it. If you are directly or indirectly related to Father's Day, I hope you celebrate it. Here's what I've done for the ground rules for my top 20 this week. My top 20s or 10s or 15, my top lists tend to have a lot of ground rules and qualifications. I like to step away from that this time because, so typically I would say things like, if it's a top 10, 20 summer, then, the majority of people on Fragrantica had to have voted summer as the top fragrance, or, citrus list, it has to be citrus as the dominant note. I wanted to step away from all of that, and I simply did this. I have a top 20 list for you. They're not ranked. Once you get into my list, you get in. I'm also not going to do categories. I typically do best one for office. I'm not going to do that. And I sat down and I quickly made a list of all the fragrances that either someone has told me that they associate with fathers, or I myself have thought that would be a great Father's Day gift, or I associate with dads. And I'm just going to leave it at that, right? So there's not going to be any hardly of the, daytime, nighttime, clubbing, office. I'd like to step away from that format. And this episode, let me know if you appreciate that, or if you liked the other episodes better, where I have ultra specific categories like cheapies, etc. So let's dive in. The only thing I do have is 5 niche, and then I've got 15 designer, and I'll start off with an honorable mention. I had to include one honorable mention only because it's not Father's Day, but I technically got my dad this for Christmas. But so I didn't have to include it because it wasn't for Father's Day, but I wanted to because I do think this is a well-rounded compliment-getting fragrance that belongs on the Father's Day list as an honorable mention. And that, of course, is Invictus by Paco Rabanne. You guys know what I've already said, which holds true. The marketing is hideous, the bottle is atrocious, and everything else flipping rules. So just don't put it out. It's corny. It's a trophy, and you win the women over, and they throw them. Nude women run to you when you wear it. It's pretty hokey. I have to say the marketing is bad. That said, it's a great fragrance. It deserves to be honorable mention on this list. Plus, I'm a huge fan of the model for that one for Invictus is a great rugby player. So kudos to him for getting a side job as being a well-known model for Invictus by Paco Rabanne. Now, the next 5 are going to be niche fragrances. So if you're watching this list because you're frantically waiting to the last minute, and then you're going to go out and get your dad a gift, then I would say, if you don't know what niche is, fragrance reviewers will always talk about niche versus designer fragrances. And there are many reasons why they're different, but just a few are niche companies are more expensive, they're more exclusive, and oftentimes it's because they either make exclusively fragrance or almost exclusively fragrance. And so they're really, think about it. If you're in the business, of course, to make money and survive, which businesses are, then in fact you want to make products that sell and do very well. And so there's a lot on the line for niche companies when it comes to fragrance, because that is all they sell. Think about it. And so it's an ultra competitive market. And so a lot of fragrance frag heads really enjoy, in fact, buying niche fragrances because they tend to be really original. Even if they're hit or miss, even if they don't care for them, they still mind that because they tend to be very unique fragrances, oftentimes natural ingredients, not necessarily, but oftentimes they have more natural ingredients. And again, think about it, right? They are, in theory, they are the vanguard, the avant-garde, because they are in the business of trying to create the next big fragrance. And so these first 5 I'm going to mention are niche fragrances. They are really expensive, so take a seat if you're not sitting down already, because you're looking at between about $250 to $400 a bottle. So I won't be seeing too many of these. I have reviewed, in fact, just almost all of them. In fact, I think I have reviewed all of them. I have. So I had samples, of course. The first one is Aqua. You can say Aqua Celestia Forte if you're looking at Latin, but of course it's more on the Italian side. And this is Aqua Celestia Forte. And I will have in edit, I will add the titles. I have bottles and samples for most of these, but I'm just going to put the title below for you. So this is Aqua Celestia Forte by Maison Francis Coeur Gian, and people just simply say MFK. So this is a house from France, and this was a wonderful fragrance, kind of that it is a light, very fresh, clean bed sheets kind of fragrance that I absolutely love. Big fan of this house. Second one is by the same house as MFK. So this is Oud. So if you're looking for something with a very, very light and fresh, something typical for the summer, you would look at something like Aqua Celestia Forte. And then if you wanted something just a little bit darker, would be Oud. But I say that in the sense that the Oud was not the quite pungent oud that you get a lot of times. It was more medicinal, and it was quite light. It wasn't a huge player, ironically, because it's called oud, but it's a very approachable, friendly oud, and for that reason I have to include that one as well. Love both of those fragrances. That house is a fantastic house. So then we have to include Neroli Portofino by Tom Ford. Come on. It might not last as long as we would have liked, but Neroli Portofino, it rules. I mean, another one that's perfect for the summer, and quite expensive. I wish they had, a Neroli Portofino Extreme, extreme edition. But this one would be a wonderful choice if you've got the cash, and if your dad is a Tom Ford fan. And then, of course, I have to include the one that I'm pretty sure Clint Eastwood wore, but many famous actors have worn, which is Green Irish Tweed by Creed. And I always say Tweed by Creed. I trip over that one, but it is Green Irish Tweed by Creed, and so this is quite possibly the standard, the ultimate, Father's Day fragrance on the niche side, on the expensive side. It is very nice. I'm not a huge fan of Creed just because they disappear on my skin, but I do like a couple of them, and this is one of them. Typically called GIT, affectionately called GIT, and this is a wonderful, wonderful fragrance. I actually like it probably a little bit more than Aventus, but I'm probably the only one who's going to say that. So finally, I would add Amouage Interlude Man, but I want to say specifically why. I actually like Amouage 25. Jubilation 25, excuse me, and it's got the Roman XXV, so it's 25. Jubilation 25, I like that one. I just don't know that that's very approachable in the sense that it's my personal favorite, but I do admit it might not be someone, I can't see necessarily everyone liking that one. Whereas Interlude Man, I put this on this list because it is the Blue Beast. The nickname for it is Blue Beast, and it's because it lasts about 3,412 hours. It lasts forever and a day. So if you got the cash, and your dad really likes the very, very strong fragrances that announce his presence before he even walks into the room, or even after he leaves, the whole place smells like it. That is why I included that one on this list. I love the Blue Beast. I mean, I'm a sucker for fragrances that last a long time, and that one is way, way up there on the hour list. And so that is Interlude Man by Amouage. Again, I have 15 fragrances now that are going to be designer or non-niche. They're going to be all over the place in the sense of type of season. Cost is going to be relatively inexpensive, probably about $100 or less for most bottles. And as I said, I did not want to think of season or anything of the sort, or occasion, event. Or even age. I really wanted to think of who has reached out and said, wow, I really associate my dad when I think of this fragrance, or this is a really good gift for Father's Day, and I just left it at that. So the first one up to bat, of course, the first 3 or 4 are really fun because you can, at this point, they're probably grandpa area scents, but I wanted to include them. What would be a list without Polo? I saw a couple lists recently for Father's Day, and they did not include Polo. I understand that it will depend. So some of you guys, if you're looking for your Father's Day gifts, he could be as young, for example, as, in his early. If you yourself are looking for the gift, he could be as young as around 30 and on up. So some of these fragrances, of course, are going to be possibly for your grandpa. And the first 3 or 4 are oldies, but goodies, and then they are Brut. I'm going to start off with Polo by Ralph Lauren. And, of course, I have to include that on my list. It's got to be on there. You've had a bottle or 17 in your life, admit it. The second one would be one of my favorites, of course, is Brut 33. As I mentioned, it's Brut, and then for a while they had a glass bottle, and it was called Brut 33, and it actually had the dangling gold silver chain necklace on the bottle, which I thought really says nothing more than Bee Gees late 70s. It is a great fragrance, though. Don't discount Brut just because it's cheap and older. It is vintage, and it is a classic. So, and then, of course, I have to include Old Spice. A lot of you guys really like Old Spice, and why not? I mean, it's a great bottle. It's the splash on. You got to do the splash on, and it's just a great blast from the past. So I wanted to include those 3 because they're really fun and vintage, and quite honestly deserve to be on this list. The fourth one I'm going to go with is one I've had multiple bottles of, and I've had many people say to me that they associate this with their dad, and that is Halston Z14. I really like this fragrance. I know that a lot of people don't like the new reformulations, and I admit it's not as good as it used to be, but that's okay with me because I still like it. I still have my trusty Mammoth bottle ready to go at any time, and I like this one. It's also from the 70s, so it has had quite a run indeed. It is not like it used to be. It doesn't last as long, but it is still good, and I still like it on this list. And I still like the fact that many people have said, when I did that episode, reached out to me and said, oh wow, I'm so glad that that this is getting a review because it really takes me back to my dad. So Halston Z14 needs to be on here. The next one is another quintessential dad. This one, in fact, say this one without thinking of dads and Father's Day. Obsession for Men. Come on. It reeks of Father's Day. It's the ultimate Father's Day. In fact, I have to tell you, I went through kind of an age crisis a while back, and I was thinking to myself, like, I will never wear that one because it's too dad, right? It's too dated. And then I bought the body spray, and I really liked it so much that I actually went out and bought the bottle, and I still own it. I like it. I didn't think I would. I didn't think I would like Obsession for Men, but it was great. Actually, indeed. And so, again, is it 80s powerhouse? Yes, it is. That said, it's still good. It's still real good. The next one is so Obsession, and then the next 2, I was thinking more of of a cinnamon-based fragrance, and so of course I have to include Jaipur. So I did a comparison between the EDT and the EDP. The EDT is a little bit more soapy. So I actually kind of a baby powder, has more of a baby powder in it, and we did a poll, and the EDT barely won. So there you have it. I personally like the EDP more, but either way, they're both quite good. The EDP has a little bit more citrus, and then the EDT has a little bit more of the powder. And so Jaipur needs to be on this list. I really like that one a lot, and great fragrance. And again, whether it's the EDT or EDP, either one would be on this list. The other one is Custom National, and I really like Custom National pour home. It's a great fragrance. It's a cinnamon and clove balm. And so this one is perfect for those who like cinnamon, and or if they smoke and they like something that will blend well with their nicotine, or if it's a pipe, but whatever, afterwards. And so this is one that I like a lot. I'm a huge fan of the cinnamon here, and it's another one that projects really, really well. And I like the unique factor, probably the most hipster pick on here. So if your dad is kind of a march to his own drum, hipster, hippie type, then Costume National would be something that you could consider. Another one here that I really, really thought of when I first had a bottle of this one, I thought, wow, this one just says like dad going to the office, 3 or 4 kids are waving at the house as he leaves, and then they all come rushing out to say hi, Dad, when he gets back from work. I think of that one, and I think of Gentlemen Only, and that is another one that is a great, great fragrance. I owned a bottle of it, really like the birch in this one, and it's kind of a jack of all trades fragrances. Gentlemen Only, a really, really great pick. Here's another one for you that I sometimes when I look back at a fragrance, if I immediately can detect the smell and the moment and the memories with it, without looking anything up, that tells me that I really, really enjoyed it. And that one was Vera Wang from Men. That one's going to be a list on my list that's not on a lot of lists for reviewers, but I'll tell you why. It is inexpensive. It smells really, really great, actually. It's kind of another one that has a lot of different notes in it. It's going to be hard to dislike. The problem for me that you might like about it is that it doesn't really last. So I was thinking that this would be a good choice for someone who likes fragrance, but not something that is going to overwhelm them. This is kind of the antithesis to the Blue Beast, Amouage Interlude Man. Vera Wang for Men is another one to me it's inoffensive. It smells great. It didn't last a long time for me. I wish it had, but I do like it, and I think it flies under the radar a lot because people think Vera Wang, they think of wedding dresses, and I'm pretty sure it's their only male fragrance, if I'm not mistaken, or at least it used to be. And so again, it kind of flies under the radar. Absolutely loved it, and would recommend it. Another one is a classic one that I think of when I think of Father's Day. Just a great fragrance all around is Chrome by Azzaro. Do not discount Chrome just because it's so popular in department stores. Here's the thing: is most people don't shop anyway in a store, so who cares? It used to be. Here's what it used to be. It used to be that fragrance that people would automatically see in department stores in the cologne section, and it would have these big posters of happy families with a dad in like a light blue polo and like white pants, and everyone's giggling by the beach or something. I don't know, and so it was kind of the token fragrance that you saw as a Father's Day gift in department stores. But now that almost no one goes out and shops and they just shop online, you probably don't even have that association. And I'm glad, because I think it was a disservice to the fragrance. It is a great fragrance. Chrome by Azzaro really holds its own, and it's one of those fragrances that yes, it was probably over marketed, but don't fault the fragrance for that, because it does smell nice and garners compliments. And I've said it before, for the people who say it smells like Windex, I don't know. I just we can't be friends, unfortunately. I don't understand that line of thinking. It smells clean, but it doesn't smell like a cleaning product in my estimation. Love it. I've had multiple bottles. I always get a tester. You can get Chrome as a tester for around a $20 bill for 3.4 ounces. That is outstanding. So the next one is Aqua by Bulgari. And here's the thing about Aqua. It's another fragrance that I loved, but didn't really do well in my skin. So I think if you're looking for, you're looking for a gift, and your dad doesn't really care for fragrances that project a lot, Aqua would be good for him, because it does last, and it does project, just not a long time for me. And so that is Bulgari Aqua, and it comes in the little circle bottle. The only complaint about that is some people have said it shouldn't be called aqua. It should be called like sea moss or something like that, because it's debatable to them whether it's not a true aquatic. It's not going to smell like an Acqua di Gio, for example. It's going to smell a little bit different. I like that, though. I really like that about the fragrance. And then the next pick for me is Acqua Amara, which is a flanker of that one, and it has more citrus. I personally like Acqua Amara more. So it's like Acqua Amara. I'll have everything spelled out. Acqua Amara, and it is also by Bulgaria. It's a flanker of Aqua, but it has a blast of citrus notes mixed in with the sea moss, and I really, really appreciate that fragrance a lot, and a little bit surprised by how many compliments I've gotten. It's a relatively recent purchase, but if I ever redo a top 10 or 15 most unsolicited compliments list, that one actually would make it on there. All right, so let's look at the final few here left. And the next one is Armani Mania. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, he means Armani Code. I do not. Armani Mania for me was a wonderful fragrance, one that I have come back to a few times, and it was released, if I'm not mistaken, it was released right before Code or perhaps right after. I think it was right before, though. And either way, it got overshadowed by Code, and so a lot of people don't know about Mania. They only know about Code, and I'm actually happy because it's kind of a hidden gem for me. It's a wonderful fragrance that not a lot of people have. So if you want to get compliments, if you want to smell unique, you want to smell different than the others, but also, again, want to garner attention, that would be a great choice. And so Armani Mania is definitely one that a few people have said that their dad wore. It makes them think of their dad, and so it has to make it on this list. Okay, so to finish them, I've got two more, and this one actually almost could be my one of all time. It's just that the projection and longevity are not what I want, but I actually love this fragrance. There's you guys know how this is. There's an addictive quality to certain fragrances that we have in our collection, and this one has it. I totally concede it is not the most original one in the world. There are no Belgian pancakes elements to this one. I just simply love it, and that is Eternity Aqua. So it's a flanker to Eternity. It's Eternity Aqua. You can get it for relatively cheap, and it is, I don't know what it is about that fragrance, but I am just incredibly addicted to it. I love it. I've gone through way too many bottles of it, and it's not my signature scent or number one of all time, really only because of that, just because of the longevity of it. I can't get what I want from it, but it's very close, and it needs to be on this list, especially if you're looking for a fragrance for a dad who doesn't have like a huge collection. He just wears one a year, and then every year you get him one for Father's Day. This would be a great choice for that, because this one can be worn any time of the year. Obviously, it's an aquatic, so it's associated with the summer, but it's just an outstanding fragrance. I really, really like it a lot. And then the last one, of course, we have to end only in one fashion, which is first of all, let me just say this. Like it or not, for the 17 people who have made it this far, let me just say, if you're going to learn anything in this episode, remember, see, look at that. Do you see the accent? See the accent over the O? So this is, right? It's Giorgio Armani. So Acqua di Gio is the fragrance. It's Gio from Giorgio. So see the accent there? There it is right there. Okay? If you learn anything, do not say Acqua di Gio, because it's not Acqua di Gio, it's Acqua di Gio. All right, so Acqua di Gio. I know I said I'm not numbering these in my list, but it is the last one, so are we saying it's the best? I think you can read between the lines, okay? This was, of course, in my review system given a 6 out of 5, because I give 5 out of 5 sprays plus one elusive bonus spray here at TCG, and this is only one of 2 fragrances that has earned that label. You know, it really is the best on the planet. Whether it be the new one, Acqua di Gio Parfum, or Essenza, which is another one that I like. Practically anything you can get your hands on is going to be great for Acqua di Gio by Giorgio Armani. All right, we are going to go 6 out of 5 just to celebrate Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you. I have had so much fun in this episode. It was long overdue to do a top 20 list, and it has been so much fun. Let's do this. Boom. 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 Oh, yeah. Boom. And on the watch. Boom. You know, I just feel regal. Okay, everybody, I hope you had a great time with the Father's Day episode. This was so much fun. I appreciated doing this list. Again, we went with 5 niche at the beginning, and then we ended off with 15 designer fragrances. I tried to throw in some real popular, obvious choices, and I tried to include some original personal choices, too, that would be more specific for you. Hope you enjoyed the list, and always remember, fragrance marks the celebration of today. Take care, everybody. And I hope you have a great weekend. I'm in full Father's Day mode, of course, because I'm wearing my trusty Spotted Cow t-shirt, which is a beer that's only sold in Wisconsin. I don't live there, but every time I go, I usually grab a little bit, or a lot, or a trunk full, or a car full. Okay, I rent a car. Don't stop asking so many questions. Anyway, I get Spotted Cow, and every time I wear this t-shirt, I'm telling you, every time I wear this t-shirt, someone will yell out in a parking lot or a supermarket, Spotted Cow! So it has a very fervent following. Let me know if you are part of that. I am also going to say that this weekend I'm going to celebrate by going to the movie theater for the very first time to watch, I'm going to get a little emotional here, John Carpenter's The Thing. So, you know, it really doesn't get much more Father's Day than John Carpenter's The Thing at the theater, celebrating the 40th anniversary. For the first time, I'm getting to see it at the theater. And then the second thing is wearing, busting out your Spotted Cow t-shirt. So there you have it. So